Hello there, my friends. Welcome back to the Glow Up Method. This is the place where we talk all things self-improvement, self-empowerment, self-development, discovering your own self in order to live this life that you are proud of and to start living that life today, right now. Today is day 1. Hi, my name is Natasha. I am so excited, proud, honored to be your host today. How are you guys? I am so excited to be talking to you today. Today's episode is going to be all about showing up for yourself. For me, so many years of my life, it was so easy to show up for everyone else, but I did not show up for myself. And when I would show up for myself, I would show up for myself in the most unhealthy ways, right? I was feeding into this story, this belief that I wasn't worthy of my time. I wasn't worthy of really anything. And so showing up is such a critical part of the process, any process. I mean, you think about it. What are your favorite books? Think about it. Did they just write themselves because the author felt like writing that day? No! They are on the bookshelves. They are on your nightstand. They are in your hands. They are on your mind because they showed up even when they didn't want to. That's the thing. When I was on my weight loss journey, which I still am, it's a lifestyle adjustment. There's no end to it unless I want it to end. But when I went on this health improvement, weight loss, however you want to word it, depending on the day and time, releasing of weight, losing the weight, gaining my freedom, however you want to say it, the reason I am where I am today is because I showed up. I showed up on those days where I was in fear that it wouldn't work. I showed up on the days that I was in pain. I showed up on days when I lacked motivation. I showed up on days where my kids had surgery. I showed up on days where my kids' lives were turned upside down, and thus my life was turned upside down because I felt such an emotional connection with them that their pain was literally my pain. And then I also had all my wisdom and foreshadowing to know of all the processes that were going to, be required of me in order to help nurse them to their baseline. And so showing up for yourself, you're sitting here listening to this, you are showing up for yourself. I've talked about this a lot, on here. So I know a lot of things get repeated because, hey, it's a daily episode. There's new stories, new things, new insights, because again, I'm growing. I'm not the same person I was when I started filming January 10th, 2024. I have evolved. I have changed significantly. And even you as viewers, if you went back, would probably be able to say, wow, she's made such a transformation in here. So yes, we're going to talk about key things in repetition because they're that important. I think about it a lot. So many times we're like, oh, what's it going to matter if I do this one thing? If I don't work out today, if I, do this, if I, overshop today, if I overspend, the small things don't really matter, right? Like it's not going to make that significant of a difference in your life, right? But when you consistently do it, that is when the change happens. And now this could be something good, right? It could be I'm committing to walking, I'm committing to meditating, I'm committing to doing some yoga, whatever it is you're committing to, investing, learning, whatever it may be. But it could also be something that doesn't align with living a life you're proud of, like, overspending or being mean or not telling people, that you love them or whatever it may be. So however you end up doing these things, like we don't often notice in the moment, right? So I say this a lot, like when our kids are little or there's a kid, that's little, a niece, a nephew, grandchild, your own child, a friend, a neighbor, and you're with them every day, you don't always notice the changes unless they're big ones. Like you went from not walking to walking, and you went from not being able to stand, not talking to talking. Like if there's a big change, like you're like, oh, wow, right? But a lot of times those small changes we just don't notice. And there were so many times where, I would see a photo that was just taken a month ago, and I was like, oh my God, my kid has changed so much since then. Like, I didn't even notice it. Or if somebody that you haven't seen, like a family member, friend, somebody you frequently go to that store or restaurant, is like, oh my gosh, they've grown so much. And you're like, really? I didn't even notice, because you're kind of in the thick of it. Like, sometimes you need what we've been talking about, is that shift in that perspective, a different viewpoint, to see how much change has really occurred. So just like that change is happening within, a physical body, that's obvious, right? To somebody who maybe isn't with them all the time, or tends to be more observant, or you look at a photo or whatever it may be, those same changes are occurring within you. So yes, that one block walk matters. It's really important. It's critical to creating this foundation of confidence, this foundation of you can do it, this foundation of showing up for yourself. This is like one of those integral things. It's at the foundation. It's at the root. You need to show up for you. And you need to show up for you because you want to live a life that you're proud of. And you need to start doing that today if you're not already. And if there's things that you are doing, consider maybe making some adaptations. Like, can we, increase our 1 block to maybe a 2 block, or, continue to grow. Don't just get stagnant because last week you grew and now you're at this plateau, right? I think about this a lot with my own personal workout journey because, I've gone from where I've done, crazy amounts of classes. I 1 year had this, resolution to try 52 new classes or 52 new instructors, however, maybe the same class, but a different instructor in the year. And this was a great challenge to get me out of my comfort zone. And in the beginning, it started strong. There was a lull in the middle because I started getting comfortable in some of these new classes. And I was like, wait, I really want to try these. And then at the end, it was like in October, I was like, okay, I need to panic. And I started finishing it up so I can make sure I got it done by the end of the year, which I did. And I even did more than what was, what I had, set as a goal for myself. But the process, the important part of the process was not about getting to the 52 number. While that was a motivating factor and it was this goal, the beauty was in that middle part. It was in that middle part where there was that lull. And I was like, hold on, wait a minute. I know I have this bigger goal, but I really need to spend some more time, investigating this class. I want to see if this is something I want to incorporate into my daily, weekly, monthly life. And so, in the process of my, physical journey, I have the tendency to go to what I like to do. Why shouldn't I, right? This is my life. I'm living a life I'm proud of. It's not about getting to the gym and torturing myself, although there is some torture. There is some, challenges, I should say. But after I do those challenges, for me personally, I feel stronger. I feel more capable. I feel this sense of resilience, this sense of overcoming, like, I didn't want to show up. I didn't want to do this. And I did it. And that's even more powerful, even more useful, per se, than just the physical aspect of, oh, I lifted this weight or whatever it is. So my journey has been evolutionary and it will continue to, because I need to adapt to where my body is, where my mind is, where my emotions are, where my spiritual state is, what my financial status is, where there's a lot of factors that go into making the decision on what I do, because there's only so much time. Yeah, if I could just spend my whole day, doing classes I love, well, I'd probably be exhausted. But, that would be great if it was every day and it was the set schedule, but it's just not that way. And that's, my choice. There's other options, right? But that's what is making me live a life I'm proud of. I have some spilled coffee up here and I'm going to still be drinking it today. It's one of those days that I need my black coffee, and it's a little bit gloomy here where I live, and I'm used to having the sun there. It's about to be the weekend, and I don't have anything set in stone planned. What I did have planned was some work, but it's going to rain. And the thing I need to do is outside, and it requires electricity. And so I'm under the impression that perhaps getting electrocuted was not on the agenda for the day. So, or the weekend. So I don't know what's going to happen this weekend. That's a sidebar event, but I need my coffee because it's a bit on the gloomy side. And I am, I get a lot of life from the sunshine. I know that about myself now. Like before, I didn't really realize it, but in this process, I can see like, oh, I feel so rejuvenated. Here's how I feel when the climate is XYZ. And I really try to embrace it instead of being like, oh, I'm busy, I got to do these things. And then know like, okay, when the rain and the clouds come, it's time to hunker down. Today, this morning, I was able to delete over 4,000 junk emails and unsubscribe from umpteen things that I never subscribed from in the first place that I'm aware of. So I unsubscribed from all these things. We're going back to what I've been talking about these last few weeks. Decluttering my life, making space for the things that I want in there instead of kicking the can down the road like, oh, I'll deal with this later, really working on getting an email, addressing it, deleting it, and getting out of the way. I am working on improving, these other aspects of my life. Hello. So I need some coffee. But yeah, creating this magical morning for yourself is such a critical part of showing up for you. It's where your day starts, right? Like, so for me, I've told you here, I've really been incorporating the meditation, which has been really a beautiful gift because it's allowed me this place to get quiet with my own needs, especially in this time where, I am investigating this new version of Chris and I. And, it's been some time now and we have spent a lot of time together. There has not been one night, in the last few weeks at the very least that we haven't been together. It's a lot of time. And of course, in the beginning, there's like, it's like giddy honeymoon things. And of course, things are kind of settling in. I'm still very comfortable with where we are settling in. But there's this little bit of fear, right? Like, I don't want to settle back into the old us. Like, I'm okay settling. I'm okay with it not always being at a 10 level of, infatuation and all those things. But, I really don't want for my life for it to be at a negative 10. Like, we need to do work every day. And we are. Like, I am so proud of Chris. I am so proud of me. Like, I am just so proud of we. So I say all that to say, a magical morning routine, it seems so simple, but it's a little way to show up for yourself. And it doesn't have to be long. 5 minutes or less, whether it be putting on a cream or, gouacheing. Some of my things that I used to do, I have slipped away. Like the gouache, the scalp massaging, like some things is like, not right now. Maybe it's still on the idea to get you back incorporated in here. I just came across my list that I had hanging on my mirror. I'm really good with lists. So it will be like my 10 morning, magical morning things. And it was like listed out how I wanted. So you go ahead and list it out because you're creating a new habit. And if 10 is too much to start with, like put some things that you already do, like brush your teeth, take a shower, brush my hair, like put things that you already do and then add 1 or 2, maybe 3 things, depending on how long they take. I love starting with one thing. So it's like, I'm going to put on this list 9 things I already do, and then I'm going to add 1 new thing. And as I get more comfortable and know, hey, I can take shower off, I can shift my list up and say, here's something else new. Like, keep it small. Like, this is the secret to showing up for you, because if I created a whole new list of 10 items to like incorporate into my morning, I'm sorry, it's overwhelming. It's too much. And yes, maybe on the initial infatuation onset, excitement period, you can get these things done. But suddenly life's. And the important thing about showing up is to show up when life's. Like when you don't feel good, when you're overwhelmed, when you have 10 new things and your car breaks down and the water heater explodes and then you have construction going on in your house. You are so drawn out and like stressed out and overwhelmed by changes that there's no way you're getting these things done. So like I say, start small. Maybe your list has 3 things on it. However works, whatever works for you. Maybe you don't need the confidence boosting, like, oh, I already kind of have a magical morning routine. I didn't design it necessarily with intent. It just kind of happened. It was kind of my default morning. But, sitting down and having a nice cup of tea, or, having 5 minutes to read in a book, or writing out 3 things you're grateful for, or calling a friend, or listening to a song, dancing, walking, whatever it is, find something like to dedicate yourself. And again, if you have nothing going on in your, intentional going on in your magical morning routine, I will highly recommend allocating 5 minutes. It's not that challenging to set your alarm 5 minutes earlier and get up and take action on yourself and start your day knowing, oh my gosh, I filled my tank. Like I did that. And then being able to show up for yourself consistently is such a critical, important thing to do. And so, I really feel like growing with yourself, and I'm so sorry, I'm a little bit on the distracted side right now because my son is calling me, and I'm working through like, do I answer? Do I not answer? Do I answer? Do I not answer? And so for this moment, I am going to not answer. But so he's gonna have to just hang on for a minute, which is growth for me. But I say all this to say, creating these magical mornings and then consistently doing it and showing up for yourself gives you this confidence. It builds the momentum. Sometimes another strategy we can use is to get an accountability partner. So perhaps one of your kids, a friend, your spouse, your partner, your significant other, your mom, your dad, whoever you're living with, or maybe somebody, outside of who you're living with. Online communities, great. Like, what are your magical mornings? And hold one another accountable for it. It's this great way of being able to show up for a greater good and cause and encourage somebody else, and you showing up encourages somebody else. So I love accountability partners, which is a challenge for me because I've always been a person who has felt like I needed to do this world on my own in so many ways. So really opening myself up, like in the gym, and thinking to myself on days that I'm like, I don't want to go. I think about certain friends. I think about certain, instructors. I think about certain classes, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to show up. I'm going to go because I have this accountability partner, and they can either know it and like, or not know it, right? Like, you don't have to be like, you're my accountability partner. Hi, let's sign a contract. However you want to do it, if it's even just within your own mind that I have this, this other, person, I'm not in this alone. For the gym, it's easy because they're in there, working out together. So they have a common kind of goal. And so what I am encouraging you to do is to show up for you. Show up for you. You deserve it. Like, it's so easy to show up for others. It's so easy sometimes to show up for work and overwork yourself, right? You have a 9 to 5, and there's so many times that I had a 9 to 5 job and I was in my job until 10 p.m. Not getting any overtime, not getting anything like a thank you or anything. Just overworking and showing up for somebody else because I wanted to get this job done and I wanted it to be right and all these things. And, there was nothing left after I gave everything to somebody else to show up for me. There was no time for a gym. There was no time for a nice home-cooked meal. There was no time to make sure it's properly hydrated, And so I went from doing that with jobs, and I did that with my kids. I did that with Chris. And so creating this balance where you show up for you is so important. And I want to debunk any kind of myths or beliefs that you believe, because I believed that showing up for me was selfish. Like, how dare I take care of me? Like, that is so selfish. No, it's not. It is not selfish to take care of you. And now, yeah, the other people in this world may sit here and be like, oh, she's so selfish. She does this, or he does that, or they do this. Listen, that is their own work. That is their belief. And you are your inner compass. You know in here who's with you every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Who is it? You are, right? You know you're not being selfish. I'm taking care of me. I cannot drive my car of me on an empty tank. I need to fill my tank. And in order to move on this road of life, on this path that you're meant to go on, you gotta take care of you. And in order to do that, you gotta show up. So my question to you today is, how are you gonna show up? And my other question to you is, let's take a moment and celebrate all the ways in which you've showed up until this point. Because I think a lot of it, you don't even think about. I think a lot of it, like the kids scenario I was telling you about, you don't even realize you're sitting here and you are listening to something to better your life, to open your mind, to give you a different perspective. That's amazing. You don't have to take what I say, as truth. You don't have to take it as the holy grail. Take it with a grain of salt and adapt it to how it fits you. Take that information and play with it, mold it into creating this life and lifestyle that you love, right? That you deserve. I'm over here creating the one that I love and I deserve, and continuing to do it gives me the faith and the courage to keep going. Now, what do we do when we mess up, right? I didn't show up for myself. I didn't go to the gym for a week. I didn't, for whatever reasons, I was out of town. I didn't want to, whatever. Okay, life. I didn't have the time. What do we do now? Do we just stop? No, here's the really cool thing. Each day you grow, each day you build this foundation. That's the foundation. You never go backwards. Like, you are here. So yeah, maybe you stayed here for a few days or a week or a month or a year or two, whatever. That's where you're starting. You're not starting from the beginning. You're starting from here. And have that faith, that here is not slipping just because you haven't been there. It doesn't mean you're going to get to the gym and there's not going to be a challenge and you're going to be like, oh, whoa, I didn't realize I used that muscle that much and I didn't use it. It doesn't mean there's not going to be challenges, but this is where you are and you're back, and that's what matters most. The time gone doesn't matter. And actually, the time gone, you do learn. You do grow. It's just different. So there are no mistakes. You're exactly where you are at the time of life where you need to be to learn what you need to learn to get you to the next stage. Everything we learn is not unlearned. It's not lost. It's not gone just because you take a break or because life. There's illnesses. There's deaths, there's job losses, there's moving, there's divorces, there's separations, there's, you name it, it's out there. You're aware of it. And there are days where everything seems fine and I don't feel fine. And now I'm irritated because I should feel fine and I should feel really grateful because here I am with my life and I just can't get it together. And that's okay too. We've all been there. I've been there. I'm like, I have no reason to feel upset right now, but I feel upset. And what do I do? And how dare I feel upset? Because life is over here just freaking lifing. And everybody else, my life isn't that bad. I have a roof over my head. I have coffee in my hand and whatever it may be. So I say all that to say, show up for you. Show up for you. You deserve it. How are you going to show up for you? That's what I want to know. So please comment that below. And I'm so honored and excited to be a part of your journey. Please comment and share with us. You have no idea how much your light brings to others. Maybe you do. Maybe you do. If you do, that's great. Keep shining it so we can all see it, learn it, experience, and grow from it. We are a community. We, as an entire world, are this unit in which we all are woven together, and we all need each other, whether we like it or not. And the more we show up for ourselves, the better we can show up for others, the better we can show up for this world and really have the impact and changes and the legacy in life that we are wanting to have from this one life experience that we have here. So go out there today, give somebody a big smile, give them a compliment, and just watch how they glow up. And I want you to do the same for you. I really want you to start making it a part of your daily routine to not only give to others, but show up for you. I want you to look in the mirror. I want you to give yourself a big smile. I want you to say thank you for showing up today. And I want you to give yourself a compliment. It doesn't have to be a physical compliment. It could be like, you're really resilient because you did not want to get out of bed today. And here you are standing in the mirror looking at me. And I appreciate you for doing that. Start building this sense of care within yourself. And watch how you literally glow up. Bye.